Your heart is precious, and it's a life-sustaining and life-giving organ. It's what keeps you alive. And at the same time, it houses all your emotions and stores your joy, your love, and it stores your pain. It's both literally the storage of your joy, love, and pain, and it's also figuratively. That's why we have all these expressions, broken-hearted, or wearing your heart on your sleeve when you're feeling really vulnerable. My name is Maria Chaudhry, and I'm a midwife, herbalist, and the creator of Birth Song Botanicals. And today we're going to be talking about heart health, and the importance of heart health in terms of living a long and fulfilling life. We're going to be talking about Cardio Tonic herbs, and we're going to be talking about heart health from the physical heart perspective, and then also from the emotional or spirit heart perspective. So, I want to just start with saying something, why this is so important. Because, did you know, I knew this, but then it's just kind of coming in like a little bit more, like sinking in a little deeper. Our heart health is not just so important about like my emotions and how I feel that day, which really matters in the moment, right? But our emotions, our stressors, our actions, our decisions, our lifestyle, all of those things have a direct impact on our heart. They impact how we feel and how we cope and how we move through our lives. They impact our ability to like show up and engage in the world. They impact our ability to be living your dreams, right? They also impact your life expectancy, because really the bottom line is coronary heart disease is the #1 cause of death in the United States. It beats cancer, it beats diabetes, it beats a whole host of other diseases. It's coronary heart disease. And that comes from a long life of decisions, right? A long life of food, a long life of healthy practices that we may have had or may not have had, right? And so now and today is always the best day to start taking care of yourself, right? Because it affects you now and leads you into the future. Since coronary heart disease is such a major health concern, this conversation is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure. This conversation is a broad, overarching conversation that's talking more about how we can live a healthy life so that we can have life-affirming practices, so we can have deep nourishment, so we can be hydrated, so we can have effective ways to express our emotions, so we can feel connected, so we can understand about some of these herbs that are beneficial to our health. So it's coming from this broad, overarching conversation. I probably don't need to say this, but I will say this. If you have any concern about your heart health, please go see a doctor right away. Don't just try to take these herbs. Like, go get real medical advice. Okay. So, cardio tonics. Why am I talking about cardio tonics? I just said what I just said about coronary heart disease. And then also, most of the people that are listening to these conversations are women. And it's super important for women to know about this, because throughout our younger years, men are at a higher risk for coronary heart disease. But once we hit 55 and we go through this whole thing, this transformation called menopause, and our hormones change, then women suddenly become at a much higher risk. And then also what happens is that the severity of the disease is much, much more severe for a woman than it is for a man. And so menopause is not like a death sentence. It's an empowering thing. It's just that you need to be aware of it and prepare for it. I'm kind of going off script here, but you know why I did so great in my birth? I did so great in my birth is because I went to a bunch of births. I was a midwife. I knew what to expect, and I wanted the transformation. Like, I sought out the transformation. And so when I had my long, hard birth, it was transformative instead of traumatic. The same thing is my approach right now when I go through menopause, and that's a big, I'm not in menopause yet, but I'm gonna be, and so I'm preparing for it, right? And so I'm preparing for a deeply transformative experience. That's what I'm preparing for, so then when my life changes radically, that it's not traumatic, but it's empowering. That's what I'm going for. In cardiac, these herbs, Cardio Tonics, are primary conversations for women that are going through menopause. This whole segment right now is about stress and anxiety, which honestly is another huge component of a woman going through perimenopause and menopause. It just happens to be pervasive in our entire life, right? Cardio Tonics. Okay. There are some, Cardio Tonic is a general term. It just means an herb that has a beneficial effect on the heart. That's all it means. So it's general. There are some Cardio Tonics that are extremely powerful. That would be foxglove, or it's also called digitalis. They make a lot of heart medications out of it. That's extremely powerful, and I do have no experience working with it, and if you do use that herb, you definitely need to work with a skilled provider. But then there's a whole host of other cardiotonics that are safe, and they're really effective during treatment when there's pathology, and they're also really effective at preventing. I know we're not allowed to say those words, but I'm going to say them anyways, because they're really good at that, at preventing heart disease. And what they're good at, since they're cardiotonic, from our last videos you would know the word tonic means that it strengthens and it nourishes the heart. So those cardiotonics would be garlic, hawthorn, motherwort, lily of the valley, lime. Today I'm not going to talk about garlic so much. That might come up in some of the other topics when we start talking about, like immune health, because garlic is such a powerful antibiotic and cleanser, and it's really great for immune health. It's also a cardiotonic, and it's also great at lowering blood pressure. Motherwort is another powerful and yet gentle cardiotonic that I've done a whole video about. So it's also in the anxiety stress relief playlist that you can listen to. I talked about motherwort and lemon balm there, and so you can get that information there. And so that leaves hawthorn. So let's talk about hawthorn just in terms of the physical heart, okay? Ooh, we're about to wrap up. Shoot, I need more time. So hawthorn, where you're working with the berries, right? These berries are harvested in September and October. I'm just going to skip all that part because we don't have very much time. But the berries are really good at reducing your blood pressure, strengthening your blood vessels, so cardiovascular health, vessel health. So that means it's good for varicose veins. It's good for hemorrhoids. It's good for calming the heart and creating stability when there's palpitations or arrhythmia. It's good for just strengthening a weak heart. And so I want to go back to blood pressure really quick. Hawthorn has a whole other long list of other things, but blood pressure is important because as a midwife, this is what happens, and I work with pregnant women. They get high blood pressure in pregnancy, and I would make them a blend of hawthorn and black haw and passion flower, and those are nervine herbs and antispasmodic herbs. Next week we'll talk more about passion flower, so watch that video. But these herbs come together, they calm her down, they help her cope with stress, and they help reduce her blood pressure. Because a pregnant woman, this is a perfect time in your life when you're pregnant, because you're pregnant and then you're going to go through the rest of your life being a mother, and then that means you're going to be a teacher. And so when you're a mother and then you're a teacher, you need to share this stuff. Pregnant women get high blood pressure, and if it's not treated and not resolved, what happens then, she goes to term, to the end of her pregnancy, and she gets induced. And then when you get induced, it is a whole host of other interventions that you may not have wanted, and it's a very good chance that you end up in a cesarean section. Controlling your blood pressure when it's minor with herbs and meditation, reducing your salts and your sodium, can really help save your birth so you have an empowering experience. It can teach you how to live your life healthy as you go through the rest of your through your wisdom years. Hawthorn blends really nicely with some of these other herbs. So right here, we're going to segue now into like the spirit herbs instead of just the physical herbs. So right here, I have rose hips. Well, I have rose petals. I'm thinking about rose hips because I was thinking about rose hips because rose hips are high in vitamin C and they blend really nicely with hawthorn. And so it's great for vascular health. And that means it's great for varicose veins and that's great for hemorrhoids. So you want to know that. But in terms of the spirit health herbs, the rose petals makes you stop in your tracks. You stop and you smell. The aroma is such a high vibration that it goes straight to your heart and to your spirit, to your soul. I encourage you the next time you're with roses to stop and to smell them. And engage with all the senses of smelling, right? What does it smell like? And then right after that, what does that feel like? And then they're so beautiful, what do they look like? And then what do they sound like is more like the space, the silence. Roses are sensual. You give them to your lover, to your beloved, right? Roses elicit pleasure. So sensation, sensual, pleasure, all those go straight to your heart. That's really joyful and good medicine. You can blend hawthorn and rose petals together to give your heart good medicine of pleasure. And then you have lavender. Oh my God, lavender is so beautiful too. So you give roses to your lover, and then lavender is the epitome of self-love, self-care, relaxation. I encourage you to bathe in lavender, drink it with tea, with oil, rub it all over your body, smell it. Any way that you can get lavender in you and on you so you can wrap yourself up in this warm embrace of self-care and self-love. That's really healing. And you know what else it says? It says, I'm worthy. I'm worthy to live the life that I want to live. I'm worthy to live healthy. I'm worthy of love, to give and receive love to others and to myself. Take a deep breath and just center yourself in the importance of taking care of your emotional heart and your physical heart. Check out the other videos because this is important. I made a guided video, a guided meditation, all about connecting with your heart and your heart's desires. So that's on the playlist. And I also made a video all about how heart health is just a big part of the stress relief and anxiety conversation we've been having for the last several weeks. And I invite you to join us for more Apothecary Wisdom. Yeah. I ask you to like, comment, share, subscribe, all those things. And to drink deep. Always walk in beauty and always follow your heart.